All right, guys, this is Music, the Universal Language Podcast. This is the 8th episode, and today I got an awesome guest from the Dirty Reggae Punx band. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly Randolph. What's up, buddy?
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, thanks for being on. I know we only met the one time, but just seemed like an awesome guy, and I think our buddy Josh hyped you up a little bit too, Billy Dreamer.
Yeah, Josh is a good guy. I miss being in the Midwest, but I like California. It's a lot warmer.
That's right. So you're originally from Twin Cities area or just Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Minneapolis, born and raised, and then later in life as I got older and had kids, moved to rural Minnesota, then hit the road with the band and haven't really looked back. That's
awesome, man. So then now Northern California is kind of a temporary home or just in general? It's turning into a home.
Home is definitely where the head rests, right?
For sure.
So I like it in NorCal. I have more of the lifestyle choices that I choose at my fingertips. So the weather's a little warmer,
Yeah. No, I used to live in like Sonoma County. It was hard to leave. A little more expensive, but it's an awesome area for sure. I go over to that area every now and then. Play some gigs over there.
Next time you're out here, hit me up. Let's do a gig together.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. Who knows when that would be? But I'd love to get back to the West Coast. Just anywhere in that area is awesome. But mountains. All right, cool. So Minnesota, eh? That's just I'm from Wisconsin, so you're just right over the river.
Yeah, that's right. We
so
get oot in a boot once in a while, though.
You get what?
Oot in a boot once in a while.
Oot in a boot? Yeah. Aider. So, yeah, how far back does you playing guitar go? Or, like, I'm sure you've been listening to music as far as you can remember.
Yeah, I mean, playing guitar as far as I can remember, too. Like, my dad was a bass player growing up, so I was dragging around chord bags and diapers,
Any particular music your dad did or played?
He played rock and roll.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of circuit stuff in the local area, a lot of covers and things like that. But I still spent my whole life sitting on a 5-gallon bucket in front of it, watching with wide eyes.
That's awesome, man.
Got my first guitar at a pretty young age. Played in garage bands growing up. Never really did anything with it. Put it down for a while and did the
frozen.
Just kind of walked away from it for a little while.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to it was when I had kids. Okay. And my dad actually brought me back to it. He said, "You need a hobby." And he took me out to a music store and bought me an acoustic guitar.
Oh, nice.
And I just re-taught myself how to play and been doing it pretty much nonstop ever since he put a guitar back in my hands.
So when you were younger, were you playing electric more? Or
I actually played bass more when I was younger.
Okay.
My dad was a bass player, and everybody around was either a drummer or a guitar player.
And so is this like you're like teenager or even earlier than that? Like
teenager, I probably got my first guitar. Like I got my first instrument was an electric guitar. Right. And I got that at a pretty young age. I'd have to say preteen.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, I would always borrow my dad's bass and go play with the neighborhood kids because, nobody played bass. Everybody had a guitar and a couple of the kids played drums. So I would just drag my dad's bass out and play on that. So then my parents ended up getting me a bass, and I was originally probably more of a bass player than a guitar player to start out with.
That's the common story, man. Everyone plays guitar. Everyone and their mom plays guitar. So you're like,
that's right.
Just to play bass or drums, you already stick out or somewhat more wanted in a sense. So were you getting into punk rock stuff back then, or was that a little later?
Yeah. I mean, punk rock is always kind of, growing up listening to bands on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Rancid, Operation Ivy,
Hell yeah.
Sublime,
No effects.
No Effects. Yeah, I mean, No Effects kind of lost me after Heavy Petting too.
Okay, so you like the earlier stuff.
I really like their earlier stuff.
Right on.
And also, I mean, being a teenager in the '90s, it was grunge. It was Mad Season, Stone Temple Pilots, Blind Melon, Nirvana. I mean, you can't deny my influence in those.
Yeah.
Pacific Northwestern grunge bands.
And I feel like the Twin Cities always had a decent music scene. Was it like pretty good for teenagers as well? Like, were you guys playing gigs or?
First Ave always brought a lot of people in. Minneapolis had Prince, and they had Pachyderm Studios in Minnesota, which is where Soul Asylum recorded their album that went big. And I want to say Nirvana did one of their albums. I want to say maybe it was In Utero at Pachyderm Studios.
Oh, no shit. That's cool.
And Pachyderm was like a resort that would host these big rock stars and record all their stuff.
Huh. That's crazy. So you guys could like explore it, or it was just legendary?
They just brought them in, and First Avenue would host them,
Oh, okay. Right on.
So,
that's crazy.
I mean, Minneapolis has a very eclectic music scene for sure.
Yeah, every time I've been through there, you can tell they kind of really appreciate the music. It's like, and there's a great local scene there. I feel like local artists.
I've never really been an avid part as far as Dirty Reggae Punx goes of the local scene.
Right.
But as far as being part of the community there, I'm friends with a lot of the local scene bands, and they're all really great. They really embrace each other. Anytime Dirty Reggae Punx has been there, we've always been shown lots of love. But we were kind of took to the road right away.
Yeah, there
wasn't much of a scene for us in Minnesota as far as things that we went with. So we took going other places right out the gates.
Well, like the type of music you guys do, just like the punk, ska, reggae, can kind of be, I don't know, hard to break into a scene depending on what the rest of the scene is like. You know what I mean? California seems like they always have more reggae, or maybe more punk.
And the thing is like we're our own style of each one of those.
Yeah, most definitely.
And we don't really stick to that box either. There's some tunes that we have that kind of come out like almost bluegrass mixed with ska, and then there's other stuff that we're all over the place, and we really don't like the box, and our band is kind of more about, I'd even say, telling a story rather than singing a song.
Well, and you guys even kind of got the like a hip hop vibe when you're singing or rapping.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Minneapolis, there was a huge hip hop scene when I was growing up, and I was heavily influenced by it.
Yeah, was that
I mean, there's still those guys. I mean, Atmosphere.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I mean, there's one of the bigger names coming out of Minneapolis in hip hop that, he was just hitting the scene when I was a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
it was like late '90s. Early 2000s or something?
Yeah. And I mean, I want to say we're even pretty close to the same age, and I remember even one of my friends was trying to use Atmosphere as his DJ name and had to legally stop using it as we were kids because Atmosphere had already kind of claimed it on the scene.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's definitely old school for sure.
Yeah,
he definitely has his own following, and maybe kind of started with a strong local following, like as you said.
Yeah, so. And he's really got a unique sound in hip hop too.
Oh yeah, it's definitely his own thing. What's the he does his own solo stuff. What's his name? The I can't think of it right now. I'm drawing a blank. Slug, yeah. He got his own solos albums or whatever, but.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of great things coming out of Minneapolis. Technically we did, and I think we're pretty great, but that's just my opinion.
I think you guys are awesome, man. I just remember,
So
yeah, I just remember when I heard you guys. I mean, I heard like a brief set. Like I said, Josh has hyped you up, but I heard you at the Vibe High. I think you guys played in the morning or like at noon or something. And
yeah, we played at like noon. Nobody was really there yet. It was like the first day.
well, I know I was there because I was playing that day.
Yeah,
And no, it was just dope. You could tell you guys are like mixing styles, like pretty like rapidly in a sense, or like song by song.
yeah.
And it's like super entertaining,
Like,
man.
we
I love
bounced
that
around.
shit.
Like everything kind of follows a timeline actually, and like the way we've been writing it, it's actually kind of changing our art for the future. It's been pretty progressive in the
Yeah,
last year, and to bring us back, we hit the road really hard, starting in 2014. And we would go out for 2 weeks and then be home for a month. And then we try to go out for 2 weeks and be home
yeah,
for 2-3 months and go out for a month. And finally, we worked our way up to a fact where I was going so much, I was just gone from my wife and family too much,
right.
And, but we were going hard enough where, there was a few member changes in the band, and we got the opportunity to bring my wife in on ukulele, and she was able to hit the road with us. We were doing enough gigs and getting by enough where we were growing. And it was 2016 when she actually joined the band, a couple years in. And then we did our Nation Domination tour, and we did 8 months solid on the road.
Oh
And
wow.
we went back and forth coast to coast 6 times, and then we wrecked our tour bus in Nevada.
Oh,
And
okay, that's right. I've heard this
yeah,
story. Yep.
and we were actually on our way to play Milwaukee Punk Fest, and
Right.
Josh had us on a headlining spot at I want to say, was it MK 6 or 7?
Yeah. If it was, I think we just did 9 or 10, so that would make sense. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, anyway, we were
Hey,
on our way to him, and we got into a high speed wreck with another car in Nevada, which stranded us in the desert. We lost our van.
damn.
Um,
You guys are all right though. No one too injured.
no one was too injured. Everyone walked away from it, but I did definitely walked away with some injuries that left it harder to perform.
Oh damn.
And so
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
yeah, and we were offered a spot working on a cannabis farm in the mountains, and
Nice.
I took the job, and we just kind of hit out, and we did everything that we had prior engagements for, going on. The only show that we couldn't make was Milwaukee Punk Fest, and so the following year, we actually played a makeup show there, and Josh put us back on. And that was pretty
Nice.
emotional because they had raised some money for us, and they
Yeah.
did a lot of things to get us home from being stranded because we crashed on the way to their show that they didn't have to do. The community of Milwaukee really came together for us.
Yeah,
And
man.
so when we went back there, I was actually still working on the farm, and it was harvest season. And so
Mm.
when I met you, was the tour that I did on a plane, and my band drove from California to the Midwest,
Oh
and
no
they
shit.
stayed there, and we did an all festival run, and we played like 5 or 6 shows in the Midwest, and I flew back and forth between Sacramento. So my first day on tour was Milwaukee Punk Fest, and I flew for 9 hours. I got off the plane, I went to the show, I performed for Milwaukee, and we
Mm-hmm.
went out and got Heroes up the street at this little Greek spot, and they dropped me back off at the airport, and I flew back to California and was back on the farm at 9 a.m. the next morning cutting down plants. And I
That's
did that
crazy, man.
before I flew back for, I want to say it was Shangri-La, and I was at Shangri-La for a day, and then I flew back here, and I harvested all week, and then I flew back for the Revival Fest in Illinois, and we played Vibe High that weekend, and Vibe High was my last show of the run.
Oh,
And
no shit.
that was the one that I actually got to sit down and like enjoy my weekend.
Because you went back after the weekend.
Yeah, I even flew back to be back at work Monday morning. My
Dude,
wife drove back with the gear.
So, yeah, so what was the band doing? Just hanging out in these places, kind of?
Festival hopping, man. They were camping, partying it up, having a good time with everybody.
Hell yeah.
You know, it didn't make sense for us all to fly, but I still had to work, and they still had tickets to everything for the weekend. You
That's
know,
cool you could pull that off. I mean, yeah, you could make some good money trim season, so that's cool, man. That's
yeah,
crazy, though.
Well,
Could be a little exhausting.
it was extremely exhausting, and I don't even know that I made a bunch of money, but I made it happen, and that's the most important thing.
For sure.
And that's what put us, you know, on track where, you know, I really kind of had some eye-opening things at those 2 weeks that we spent doing that. Mm-hmm. And I really started focusing because I realized how bad it hurt to play at that point. And I had to really determine, like, were we going to get another guitar player so I didn't have to hang the guitar around my neck and with my back injuries from the accident?
Right.
Or was I just done and not going to do it anymore? And those were the two things I had to consider. And I didn't even consider the fact that I had to focus on getting healthy at that point. It was just kind of like, well, everything's in the gutter. Maybe we should call it.
Huh.
So,
so this was, wow, this is right when I met you.
Right when you met me.
So right when you left, you're kind of like transitioning, or you're allowing your mind trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean,
so what, you kind of come to the point where, like, maybe I can do something to help myself get better to play
well,
again.
I kind of, yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of that community there that teaches, you know, self-wellness
right,
and things like that. And some people had kind of made me think, or said some things over that time that made me think differently. And I definitely had some influence out here in California too. You know, where we live, there's a lot of magnetic serpentine, or where we lived at the time, we were on a big rock of serpentine with, you know, heavy magnetism, and that made my body feel tremendously better. Right. So when I was here, and then I had a guy show me some yoga moves that I could do. Yeah. And I started just strengthening my back so I could work here even more. Yeah. You know, I had to focus on money now. You know, touring is expensive, and we didn't come out of it in the crash with anything ahead. Right, you know, we had lost everything at that point. Now we don't have a way to travel. You know, when we did that tour, they took a fucking Prius and filled it with all our gear, and I took a plane, you know. Huh. So it wasn't a glamorous thing.
That's some dedication, man.
It's total dedication.
Yeah.
And it's not glamorous, and you know, most of the time it sucks for that 45 minutes to an hour of fun that you get on stage.
Right.
And
isn't that crazy?
It's I mean, it's a labor of love, they say.
Right. Well, it's like, at least, when you get to play those really cool festivals, you can get some time to kind of enjoy yourself, have fun, and check out the other bands. But, you know, every gig isn't like that, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
Most of the time we are doing a lot of shit just to, you know, enjoy ourselves for like an hour at most. Well, you know, sometimes longer, but.
They don't see the behind the scenes, you know.
No.
And they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to see the struggle. That's ours as the artist, you know.
Yeah.
But it's also some of the reason why I voice my opinion and fight the good fight for artists to get paid fair wages and things. And I make a ruckus sometimes because I'm totally against pay to play. And I don't believe in the bands having to sell tickets for their spots. I think that corporate policies and those things, promoters being lazy, has tanked the music industry for the hardworking artists. Right. And they've taken the art and the talent and the time spent honing the skill out of it and made it just about what spot you can buy.
Yeah, those things just seem like such a scam, man. Because there is no, promotion even on their end half the time. So
It's social media promotion. Everybody's an Instagram promoter, you know. But like,
yeah, exactly.
how are
But
you ever supposed to get out of your hometown without buying a spot if every
yeah,
market has pay to play? You
well,
know.
and that just opens the door to like, maybe you don't even have much skill. You just got a lot of funding. So
Yeah.
you can pay your way ahead of everyone, and you haven't paid any dues in a sense.
I actually, if I ever get Jay and Silent Bob rich, instead of going around and punching all the people who insulted me on the internet, I'm gonna spend all my money paying for the direct support slot, and then I'm just gonna like do the most ridiculous, stupid shit to ruin the show.
Right.
And then when they're like, "Why did you do that?" I'm gonna be like, "Because I was able to buy the spot. You never even found out if I could play an instrument. You just wanted me to sell tickets, and I sold my tickets."
Right. Dude, that'd
And
be
they're like,
awesome.
"Nobody's here." I'll be like, "Yeah, because I bought them all, and I didn't give them away because I don't care."
Just to be a fuck you to them.
Yeah, because seriously, if the artists don't come together and start standing for their worth as a collective, or
Right.
nobody at the union's looking at independent artists on a low level.
No.
Nobody's standing up for our rights. Nobody's making sure we're not screwed over by these people who are trying to get us cheap beer and pizza instead of gas money.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if we don't stand as a collective, now let's say, the big band that they want you to sell tickets for or pay to play for comes into town and nobody steps up, then what do?
Well, that's the thing. They need to hold up their own weight on their end. You know what I mean? I mean, just the fact that they're putting a show together, there should be like certain things that are like automatic. I'm actually dealing with the venue right now that they just don't do the most obvious things. Like listings or whatever. Sometimes it's hard to. Sometimes it's even hard to buy tickets. Like there's like 9 things you got to click.
Yeah.
Or something.
And like you get a $15 ticket and your checkout is $45 in fees because they use this freaking Eventbrite page or Ticketmaster. And let's face it, man, my band isn't selling tickets on Eventbrite, but if they put us on a show, we're dropping jaws and people will come back and see us.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
We're an experience, but we're not a studio band. We're not out there, getting millions of listens on Spotify because we got a live show. We got like a zombie raccoon and like a theatrical presence that you can't buy online.
Right. You guys definitely have a great live performance, in general. So, and that's something you can't replicate. I mean, even with a video, it's not the same.
Right. And people aren't going out for live entertainment anymore because it's too much work to get a ticket. They have too many stipulations on it. And, I don't understand how a venue or a promoter, literally in the word promoter, most of that word is the word promote.
Right.
So it is
all of it is
their job strictly in the name.
Right.
And yet they want the bands to focus on ticket sales so they can open up for this big band and have exposure. But really, all the people there, if the band sell all the tickets, are the people who already know about them.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no new people. Do you see the headliner standing out front with the drummer and the singer or guitar player slanging last-minute tickets for their headlining spot? Hell no.
Right.
The company made sure that they had it. All their funding backed it. I mean, most of these big rock stars that these bands pay for are assholes, And so they're not doing shit. They're not even engaging their fans. They're not telling their fans where they're going to be at because somebody else is doing it.
They don't even know where they're going to be at halftime. Yeah, there's no control on their end. They almost want it that way. But, well, and that's the thing, too. It's like you bring in your audience as an opener. That should be a bonus. You know, they should already have people that they're going to bring. And then your crew should be like, hey, here's like some more people on top of it. Not
That's it.
just relying on you. I mean, what the fuck?
I can tell you what, any promoter watching this right now is grinding their teeth right now. And they're saying, well, you have to tell your crowd. Of course we do. We're artists. We do put it out there.
Right.
Like anybody who takes their job seriously as an artist or takes their craft seriously or anything of the sort is going to promote themselves to their audience.
Yeah, most definitely.
Period. And if they're not, they shouldn't be there anyway, even if they can buy the spot.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's or if they're not, they need to figure out how to or understand that it's, you know, basically it's necessary.
Right.
But,
so, you know, if you come out here,
right.
You don't have a huge draw out here, but you have a big draw out there.
Yeah, well, Sonoma County.
Sonoma County. Okay, so you have one spot that's
pretty
really
much
good, but you have to branch out. While you're here, you can't just come and play Sonoma County, so you come to El Dorado County.
Yep.
And you know, as a favor and an etiquette in the level of industry of DIY and independent entrepreneur goes, you know, bands like us throw ourselves out there to provide support and bring in a draw.
Right.
A lot of the times when a touring band comes through, I don't even really care about getting gas money because they need it more than I do. Just like a lot of local bands did that for me while I was on the road. There's an etiquette in the DIY scene that doesn't follow with corporate music. Yeah. You know, I mean, ska music, I don't even know why they stay bands. 9 freaking members, and you know, you got to sell $1,500 worth of tickets for $100. What's that? $11 a member?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
how does that even compute? Plus, you spend it at the bar on 2.5 beers.
Right, exactly. No, it's like bands like that just have to make it big. It can't be worth it, or it's never their day job. You know what I mean? But
well, I mean, most of it is not our day job. You know.
Well, see, that's the thing. I have to play kind of gigs where it's more background noise type shit, 2 fun shows where I'm actually promoting to do like all original shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's different, you know. It's kind of annoying too, but
it is, and it takes you away from being able to create the art. I have watched your original performances. I have seen them live. I've seen them on video. I've watched your promotion of your art and your studio time and everything else. And your independent, man. Yeah, thank you, because your independent approach has given me something of quality to tune into. You know,
that's what I feel like it's all about, just like creating media, you know, because it's like
it's content.
Well, instead of trying to like fit into whether it's corporate or mainstream, why not just create our own version of it that's already probably more appealing to people like us?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
That's essentially what this podcast, you know, came to be. It's like,
and podcasts
create more shit.
They're a growing medium for it, you know. So they allow us to create content and talk about these real world issues where other people can tune in. You know, I don't expect pay to play to be stomped out tomorrow, but I tell you what, I won't have nothing to do with it. And if other people stood with me on that, pay to play wouldn't be able to be a thing because people would stop doing it.
Right. Well, and that's the only thing I would think. Well, because even if you don't pay to get a slot, right? Well, the other option is either pay to rent the place and do all the shit yourself, or occasionally, like this one I'm working with now, they're actually willing to do, just 50% of the door, and so I don't have to pay an upfront fee, but I have to spend all the money into promoting it. So
how about
it's almost I'm spending like $200 to promote it. So
I mean, how about this? So I mean, there's a risk versus reward in this industry. Or any industry that relies on both parties. Okay, so for a venue to book you and you to do it all independent and promote yourself, there should be an agreement between you and the venue on that door on promotion, because they're responsible for their clientele to be there, trusting them that they're going to book quality entertainment, and you're responsible for promoting to your new audience, whether it be Facebook promotion, street team stuff, calling radio stations, hand flyering the area,
Yeah.
Figuring out a way to infiltrate it, there's not enough of that anymore. Everybody just wants to click a button and be done.
Well, and I feel like it's more common with the venues that they don't have that built-in clientele. They're literally just like venues that exist, and they only depend on the artist to bring in the show. Don't you? I feel like that's more common.
That's what it's become.
It's like, oh, you do it all because I just host it. So it's just like someone just owns it and just sits
over there.
Yeah, exactly. Someone just owns it and collects, and it's like, okay.
And then you see that meme where they're like, so this is the stage, huh? And it's like a half a sheet of plywood at the corner.
Exactly. It's like one little light on it or something. Stage lights, huh? You got a lamp.
Bring your own sound,
Well, it's and as you know, it's a little different everywhere, but it's almost like seems like you can always find venues like that where just they're not. It's like, why wouldn't you want to promote your venue more, or why would you want to only rely it on the bands? Like, if you want to have a successful place, it should come from both parties.
I feel like the American dream has died, and people realize that it doesn't matter how hard you fucking work, you're going to be miserable trying to keep up with the constant changes made by the 1%.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and it just goes to like, as the cost of living goes up, the wages don't increase at the same rate. So how can you fucking keep up? We all got to be like hustlers in our own way, or just live frugal.
I mean, yeah, it's required to be different. Now, in a perfect world, a venue should protect their investment. So, in a perfect world, if you're a live music venue, you should always have a headlining act that's going to be a ticket seller.
Right.
And then if you have open stage, for a few of the off nights, do something like an open mic to fill up a slow night where, nobody really expects anything, but a host gets a couple of free drinks and $100,
Well, you keep the consistency if something's going on at your place.
Yeah.
Right?
And then, you have a few local band nights where people can get together and do a door, or independent, an independent no name on the road can come in and try to get a fan base, but you have to have people there to make us want to book. Nobody wants to play to the sound guy and the bartender.
No shit. And they don't.
But it happens 6 out of 7 days a week for bands.
Well, and the bartender and the sound guy don't want to show up to work when there's no one fucking there. I mean, really.
Right.
I almost feel like, what if it's more common, just like maybe back in the day, people would actually like try to run a venue because they were such like huge fans. Maybe now it's just someone thinking about money or business sense.
I tell you,
they lost the love.
There was a venue that we played all the time in Wisconsin called the Hijinx, and every time they were fans of music.
That was in Appleton area, or no? Where's that?
Fort Atkinson.
Fort Atkinson. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're even still open anymore. But
I think they actually did close. But they had they were doing like a lot of shows like all at once for like 2 or 3 years, and everyone said they paid good and
everyone was paid good. They had an apartment upstairs with a kitchen and a shower. They would let the band stay for the night.
Right.
They treated everybody fantastic. It didn't matter who you were.
And that almost sucks too, because I've seen that with venues too. They like it's too good, and then they go out of business in like a year. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be like a happy medium.
The business model's not going full circle.
Because
there's too much of the ones that aren't good, so people aren't doing their job on both sides. Like, we're in a give and take world with this,
Right.
and we need to come to a common ground. You know what the best shows ever were? Backyard barbecues and house parties. $5 at the door, campfire. You know why? Because everybody came together to congregate around that social functioning.
Right.
There's too much financial struggle. There's too much risk involved with going out to the bar and having it cost a bunch of money. And they've made it too hard. And people have wrecked it by doing stupid things too. And there's all this stuff that works against it. And now we all have to work harder to get people actually out in a digital age where they click something on their phone and watch it on there.
Well, and that's the thing too. People have like encouraged to like, you know, even go live more and do shows from home. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to promote that in a sense. I like the sense of actually being in the same place, obviously, with people. I mean, I guess that's what we're doing right now, but
well,
it's a little different watching a whole show, you know.
We're not performing our art. We're talking about real world issues in an age where everyone's going to click in and look at it right here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and there's tons of these things going on. And so we have to outreach with this to get views and get people tuning in.
Right, just to have something extra and, yeah, just be more appealing in another way. More content, like you said.
Yeah, coming from our perspective, it's something we already do.
Right. And that's why I said I even like the sense of trying to like comment, post, or type something out. You know, even with something like this, you could like express, you know, you're trying to like type something like a meaning of a song, you know. It's like even that doesn't seem as authentic compared to if you just spoke it yourself, you know. I mean, I guess it's on video, but I don't know.
That's it. There's feeling to live music too. There's human error. There's
most definitely
emotion. There's so much stuff. There's stupidity that, like, my whole band, our purpose is to check out for that time and enjoy something else. Step outside the box and like not have to think about all the normal troubles and think about something else stupid and have a good time.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, so
those moments on stage, you know, that you can't really describe. There's those moments between your band members.
Or even the crowd.
The crowd, the energy.
I'm notorious for getting the crowd on stage with us. I mean, there's nothing funnier than watching 25 people bunny hop around your drummer in the middle of a song.
That's awesome, man.
You know, but it's all about having a good time. Everybody, they don't necessarily remember every word. They remember if they had a good time and they resonated with it.
Right.
And there's too many times on the road or even at local shows where I go out and everybody's doing this. And it's like, could you even look like you're having fun a little bit? You know?
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like, I mean, Oompa Loompa headbanging in time with each other is not necessarily having fun. It's impressive that you guys choreograph neck pain. But, you know, when it comes down to brass tacks, could you just have fun?
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, what is the point if you're not, you know?
Smiles are contagious.
Yeah, most definitely.
You got to get them going. It starts with the spotlight, and if you're the performer, that's your time.
Right, for sure. Stage presence goes a long way, too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all how you rock the crowd, you know, and what you got to bring to the table.
That's it. And, you know, your engagement with them. And that's what makes live music the experience that people would go out for if they felt like they were going to be engaged. You know, and that's really, like, I mean, I could talk everything against the pay-to-play and the promoters end all day because I'm an artist. But I also hold artists accountable, and you have to bring a show worth being paid for.
Most definitely.
You know, like, we put a lot of time into being an entertaining show, and we spend a lot of time playing for people who don't know who the fuck we are.
Right.
So
Which is
we
good.
put together the show experience that we feel represents us best. And I've seen good acts from singer-songwriters to full theatrical bands, you know, and it's all about stage presence. It's all about interaction. One of the things I love about watching is how a band will speak to each other without words.
Oh, yeah. Oh, frozen.
Impressive to see the different sides, but they have to look like they're enjoying themselves.
But that's what, that's what the universal language is all about, man. Speaking without, communicating without speaking through music, you know. Because you don't have to, you can understand people without ever speaking in that sense, you know. It's an energy you're sharing.
It's true. You don't even have to be good. I mean, I'm a perfect example of how bad you could suck and still do it.
I don't think you suck, man. I think you got some original shit. And like I said, I'm always really it's appealing to me to see the diversity. And of course, I just love original music in general when you're putting yourself out there like that.
Yeah.
But and just the way you bounce around, you know, it's, I guess, you know, kind of like, I guess a Sublime-ish thing kind of comes to mind just because how much different shit he had. But yeah, you guys had a great show for sure. And I like your originals. That. I mean, you guys have not a whole lot of albums out, right? But a few things online.
We have one full length, one 4-song EP, and we have a collective of about 6 more songs that we're in the process of recording and releasing under kind of a new design frame. Since we took time off for me to heal and get back into it, we've taken some time to write new material, and we've really been focused on creating an experience rather than just an album.
Okay.
So and more of like we tied in with some new material the end of a storyline.
Huh.
And so now from start to finish, we have a continual story in our set, which follows the hero's journey, and it has all of the pieces. And we've been looking into new medias, and we're looking at graphic novels and animated features and video game presence and all sorts of other things to expand our level of entertainment away from just fighting in a world of corporate nightmare and pay to play and dive bars. You know, we want to reach people on a different market.
You're hitting it from all angles, and that's key. And it's, you know, I've heard so many times, just the stronger the independent artist can be, that's kind of even what labels are looking at nowadays. And not that you even need a label, but you could do so much DIY now. But that's awesome, man.
I would love
to see your set, the story.
We're going to be releasing more information soon, so stay tuned, everybody, because big things are happening, and we're really trying to stay away from crowdfunding on it, and we're trying to source a franchise and a brand and a collective. We're working with a wide array of artists on this project, and we're building a collective. What the most important thing that I can say is that we're trying to find a group of us like-minded DIY entrepreneur individuals, and we're going to utilize our talents where our niches lie. And everybody can eat from that model at the same table. And, you know, it's going to be give and take. And, you know, people are going to be putting in their work, but we're also looking for producers and things like that to get them paid. And so it's a project where independent artists are going to work together collectively to make sure that we all get paid and we all move forward while creating a form of entertainment media that's almost like an independent collective or franchise brand.
That's awesome, man. And it's all kind of based around, is it Dirty Reggae Punx's name still, or associated with other brands?
Our project is our art. You
Okay.
know, it's about the Dirty Reggae Punx and the Symphony of Stupidity, and really, it's about our battle as independent artists against a corporate entity in a world of um, false media and
Mm.
distractions. You
Yeah.
know, we're right in the middle of an epidemic, and on our first album, we wrote a song called Epidemic, and it's about these apps taking over
Epidemic.
and kind of turning everybody into mindless zombies.
Huh.
And
I like that term, epidemic. It's
yeah,
clever, man.
or even it's the beginning of the apocalypse. You know, um,
Oh yeah.
and I mean,
Shit.
think about it, man. Think about it, like they took away Flappy Birds and there was riots in the streets and people were selling iPads on eBay with the game still installed for like $6,000.
Right.
What kind of stupid shit is that?
That's some serious addictions going on.
It's an epidemic, man.
Wow. Shit. Huh. That's crazy. Yeah, it almost seems inevitable.
Is
But it's like you have to kind of that's why you have to have people speaking about it or standing up against it, you know. People are so
Yeah,
out of touch with nature, you know. I mean, the more I feel like you are in touch with nature, you kind of recognize these things, these devices that keep us addicted to them, you know. How
it's
long
true.
how
It's
long
true.
can you go without looking at your phone or whatever?
But how much of it is a necessity nowadays, too? I mean, look at how we're able to communicate across the country. I'm in California. You're in Vermont. We are
Yeah, for
three and
sure.
four time zones away from each other.
Right. But that's how I guess, we or I justify it because you're like, okay, if I'm going to use these things, let me be productive with them. As soon as I recognize that it's more of an addiction or a bad habit, then it's like,
Yeah,
okay, I need to fucking cut it out. But it's hard to just be productive every time you use it. Obviously, you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
But
yeah. And I mean, that's why they've created this culture now.
mm,
Where I mean, kids sit in the same room and just text each other. They don't even talk.
yeah, that's just
You
and
know,
and that's kind of scary in a music world because how are you gonna even get to the point of playing an instrument? Not that I'm not like against electronic music, but I do appreciate actual instruments. I
there's
love all
there's
music, but yeah.
there's all sorts of cool things going on. As far as like the future of technology and music making, but
Mm.
like instruments are I don't think are ever going to die out. You
It's like
know,
you always come back to it. You know what I mean?
there's
It's
some
always like a
people who have
revival.
natural talent too, and they just pick up anything and they play it and
Mm.
they understand it. And then there's those people that appreciate it enough to learn it.
Right. Right.
So those people aren't going to go away. And there's like, I mean, one of my buddies just got a fucking lute because he watched The Witcher, and
Oh,
now
nice.
now he's shredding his own like lute symphony songs that he's composed in just a matter of learning an instrument within a month. Like
It's
some
just in
people
them.
just got it; they see it in a different format.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of what I mean when I say I suck is because I don't like, I mean, I really just kind of get by with it. I'm more of a guy with my words. I'm more of a storyteller. I'm animated. I'm in your face. I'm not shy at all,
Right.
and I can play guitar. I understand the guitar. I understand the structure, but I'm not necessarily motivated in the same sense as other people with guitar. I don't practice my
Right.
scales every day. I cut
Right.
myself short because I don't have the ambition there, and I focus more on the songwriting or the stage presence.
Which that comes out through the music, and I think that's equally as important, because some bands have a little bit of both. Some have more than one or the other. You know what I mean? But I've always just appreciated great songs as a whole. It doesn't matter how simple it is. Doesn't matter, or in a sense, even can be comedic. Can be a great song, obviously. But
Yeah, and we go with the comedic side. I mean, we sing songs about reanimated roadkill and
Yeah.
A lot of our songs are about fucking rolling around, smoking weed with supernatural critters that we made up, or that
Hell yeah.
society made up, and we turned into a part of our storyline through our fascination with the paranormal and the cryptozoology and aliens and all that stuff.
And it just kind of comes out naturally. Do you set out to write certain things, or it's just like boom, good idea,
We do
song?
everything organically. Like, it's really loose. Like, there's times where like we'll sit down and almost throw up a song. It just comes out so fast. It's like,
Oh
whoa.
yeah, yeah.
And then we
Those are the
refine it, of course, and we spend time with it. But like, a lot of our music is written in like 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, it's a stupid ass story, kind of, but it's really relevant. We wrote a song. It's one of our ones that we're working on recording now, and it's called Redwoods Reefer, and we wrote it in Humboldt County on the Avenue of Giants, and we stopped there
nice.
on tour, and we visited this spot called the Grandfather Tree,
Oh yeah, I've
and
been there.
it's 1,800 feet or 1,800 years old. It's 300 feet tall, 24 feet in diameter, and it's this huge redwood tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're checking it out, just sightseeing as, tourists. Kind of, we had just finished our run, and we're just fucking around having a little vacation while we were out here on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
And so we're walking around. This was right before our accident, too. Right before Milwaukee Punk Fest that year we crashed. And so we're walking around the tree, and it's why we were going from here to Milwaukee anyway. So we were walking around the tree, and all the band touched the tree at the same time. And instantly I just heard this bass line transfer into my head, and I couldn't stop
Nice.
thinking about it. And like, we're like sitting there taking pictures, and I'm looking at this tree, and all I could think about was like smoking a joint and just like enjoying the moment, But I mean, we're like on the side of the highway and shit at this like old person's resort. And I'm still from a culture that like is used to hiding too, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Right.
so in your face with it all the time, but I'm always thinking about it. So I'm like, I'm thinking about getting high, and I'm thinking about how tall this fucking tree is. And so I start, thinking of this hook, higher than the grandfather. And
Yeah.
we start driving away, and I tell my wife, and she starts singing, and I start piecing lyrics together as we're driving away on the 101. We're not 2 miles away from it. And I
That's
already hear the
awesome.
music in my head. The bass line's there.
Yeah, the bass line's still going. Yeah.
Yeah, this tree literally just gave us this rhythm. And we had to pull over, and we stopped at a park, and we wrote that song, and none of us have forgotten it since. Like,
That's
it's just
crazy, dude.
been ingrained there, and we have no explanation for it. And it's a song that no matter where we play it, the whole room will stop and start moving.
And that's, I think that's how some of the best songs come, It just feels like it
Yeah.
all fell into place. That's cool, man. That's a cool story.
It's why I
One,
believe in the organics behind, songwriting, and really, focusing on the art and not focusing on having to sell your tickets.
yeah, most definitely the creative aspect of it. And yeah, I think, well, actually, that's why I kind of take forever to write songs, because they'll come to me like that, but I won't finish them on the spot, I guess. You know what I mean? I'll just
Yeah.
wait for them to come back around. But that's yeah, I think we write in a similar style in that sense. Does music come to you a lot first, or is it either? It can be either or, lyrics or
It can be either or for me.
melodies.
I'm always lyrical based, like when I was a kid listening to music, like I was one of those ones who could listen to a song twice and remember all the words.
Right, right.
And so lyrics, especially like hip hop, I spent a lot of time with the Bloodhound Gang in my headphones, So
Nice.
it was a lot of words all the time. And I grew up in a culture of hip hop in Minneapolis too, that everything was poetic in the 90s. Hip hop was a lot different than it is now.
Yeah, yeah. Even just like the term hip hop kind of had a different meaning in its
It
own right.
did.
But well, and that's the thing too. I think that's a good thing about if you can memorize whole rap songs of 16-bar verses, or that's good memory skills at least. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
People, I don't know. People act like it's. I mean, I've always find it pretty easy to memorize songs as well, but I guess other people think it's pretty challenging. But I'm like, I don't know. I
This
guess
is,
you just it's kind of just
so,
what you're into.
some
Maybe,
people got it. It's the
yeah.
way some brains work, you know.
I guess we're on
Um,
that other side of the left's creative side or something. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, some people can learn songs really good and they can be awesome cover artists, but they can't write a song to save their life. And I don't know what gets in
True.
their way
Right.
because I mean, there was a long period of time where I only did cover music and I didn't write anything.
Mm.
But then I broke that wall down. And the second I broke that wall down, it was like a lifetime of stuff just flew out of me.
Well, if you already were playing other people's music that long, you already had that like inspiration in you. Your influences
Yeah.
come out. But oh, hang on 1 second. Hey, what's up, man? Weirdo. That's all good. But okay, so yeah, so like when you were younger, were you like doing covers more, and then
Yeah,
eventually,
I mean, we were a garage band, man. We covered
so you're
Nirvana and
doing
White Zombie and
hell yeah,
Tool and Rage Against the Machine and shit, you know.
fuck yeah, dude. So then, by the time later you got acoustic guitar, this when you started writing originals more, or
Actually,
came up with the idea for the
I started
punks?
I started realizing when I was older that like I could listen to these old songs that that I knew before when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and without like it was before I was like versed on how expansive the internet was, or it was maybe even before the internet was so expansive. Um, I could like hear these songs and start picking them out, and I could remember little pieces of them, and I could put them back together. It was really like riding a bike, where I gained it all back very fast,
Well, and that's a
and
really
then
cool way to reteach yourself. It's almost
it, it was exciting, especially for somebody who just needed an outlet for something,
right.
And then there's a kid who played really good guitar that started coming around, and he would just write blues licks all the time.
Mm.
And
All
I've
right.
always been more of a rhythm player, so I would just record rhythm tracks, and he would go over and layer blues in, and suddenly the local radio station was like had this blues show, and he would open his blues set with like our home recording of some just instrumental blues that we had pieced together with mini drums and layered a couple of guitars over.
That's cool. Shit.
And then really what I've only really been doing music professionally or full time, even so to say, for just a short period of time in the scheme of things. It was like, I want to say 2011 was when I started Dirty Reggae Punx concept.
Okay.
And it was around 2012 that I had filled in on bass for another band and kind of joined another band, which put me at the Warp Tour, which in turn introduced me to Bill Manspeaker. And at the same time, I was working for a charity that involved sending guitars to soldiers
Huh.
while they were deployed. And it was called Operation Happy Note. And they would like uh, collect donated guitars and send them over to deployed soldiers in the war zones to add some comforts of home and music into their
That's
life.
cool. Hell yeah.
And so I threw a fundraiser and I booked Green Jello after meeting Bill Manspeaker, and we were on the phone and making the agreement and everything, and he said, "Great, I'll send you the set list." At the end of the conversation, I was like, "Wait, what? Why do I need your set list?" And he
you
goes,
play
"Because you're in the band."
you playing bass for Green Jello?
Yeah, and so in 2012, I joined Green Jello, and that's kind of when I started like the ropes of the music industry firsthand. I mean, I was working in it already with Operation Happy Note. I was meeting a lot of artists and all these things, they put me in a room with a bunch of people from, Aaron Lewis, Charlie Daniels, Dropkick Murphys,
Hell
Slightly
yeah, dude.
Stupid, Revolution. There's a lot of artists that I've met over the years doing the guitars for Soldiers thing.
How long did you
And,
play with Green Jello?
I
Just the one?
technically am still a member.
No shit. That's
Yeah.
cool, man.
So like I kind of come and go, kind of nomadic. I have a show that I'll be playing with them in Sacramento, May 29th. But Bill kind of started the franchise band idea, and he's got great players all over the country.
Oh,
He's got a
cool.
band over in your area that does that whole area with him. He's got a band here that I kind of can jump in with anytime. And
Oh,
so
it's a
he's
great
got a
idea.
collective of musicians that all play in his band, and he's turned his fans into band members.
That's cool, man. And so,
Yeah,
like, was the original band kind of loose like that too?
no, I don't think so. I
Or
think I think he always had a an open door policy. Bill was always just about having fun, and he was never scared to be the worst. And
and they got a
you know,
good following in their own right, like almost anywhere.
right. And as a mentor, he kind of showed me the ropes on it was really apparent and it was really clear when he told me his inspiration for starting, and what he said was, everybody wants to be the best. Nobody wants to be the worst. The title's there for the taking, and it's equally as successful.
Mm,
And so he set out to be the
wow.
worst band in the world, and now he has, been Grammy nominated.
Yeah.
He's platinum selling. He's still touring nonstop. He's living a dream life. He's in some major projects, and it was all created off being the shittiest band in the world. And now he's in the Guinness World Book of Records for the largest rock band in the world.
No shit.
And,
Because of
and
how many members? Because
yeah, I
like,
think he's at like 855 right now, or somewhere around there. I'm number 343 in the list.
holy shit, dude. That's crazy.
So yeah,
That's quite a concept, man. That's also a great idea. Huh.
yeah, it was, and he never has to deal with band drama. He leaves it at the airport when he flies home.
That's wow. Huh. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, so
Yeah,
he's introducing you to stuff, and then
yeah, he kind of mentored me for a while, and then another band from like the late '90s, early 2000s picked me up on the road, and it was Primer 55. A new
nice.
metal band that played a lot of Ozfest and things like that. And they had a couple big hits, and I did a short little run with those guys, and it
Oh, frozen.
I mean, there's a go where the money is, but like going to the UP of Michigan in January doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
No,
I
no.
would be down in Florida,
Yeah,
or
better.
utilizing a different network, a little warmer. And so it came to a point where they'd asked me to, work on music for them. And I went home and I was thinking about it, and they're a completely different style. Their tuning was drop B, and Dirty Reggae Punx plays in like probably a half step off of standard, but everybody's in a different direction. You
Hmm.
know,
Right on.
we're
That's a good way
we're
to
really
describe it.
loose, but we play in a standard tuning. And
So this one you decided to start writing for yourself, is what you're saying?
I tried to write a song for him, and I wrote 3 for Dirty Reggae Punk's new album.
Hell yeah.
And so at the time, the drummer that we had, who later became our studio engineer and our bass player, and we ended up getting new drummers and things like that. He told me, he's like, I don't want to be a cover band. My stipulation to be in this band is we can't be a cover band.
Right
And
on.
he had seen me touring with Primer 55, and I think they were all concerned because we were just starting. We were a brand new band, just kind of playing covers to get out in our local town. But these guys wanted to put out an album. And I
Yeah.
said, look, I'd be happy to put out an album, but I'm not going to just sit and play that here for people that don't appreciate it or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we want to tour too. And I said, all right, cool. Let's put together this album, and I'll use all my connections that I met from these other two bands, and we'll just hit the road. We'll just try it. No manager, no money, no plan. We don't even have a van. We all have a couple of sparse vehicles and some shitty gear. Let's do it.
Shit. And this is 2014? 13?
2013 into 2014.
Right on.
Kind of right at the cusp there. And right at the beginning of 2013 or 2014, we started really writing Throb in the Woods, and we wrote the whole song or the whole album, all 10 songs, and recorded them by the end of March of the year. And it really just flew out. I'm not going to say it was ever our best work, but it was work.
Yeah.
Okay. And we learned a lot about it, and we actually sold out of copies, and some of those songs became some of our best songs, and some of them became no more. I mean, they're forever on print, but we don't play them live very much,
Yeah.
Most of the band now doesn't even know them,
Gotcha. So how many different band members have you had? Has your wife been with you the whole time, or she just
she joined later, right around like 2015, I want to say 2016, right on the cusp there, right before we did our Nation Domination tour, where we really hit it hard. I've had a few. There's been more than just a couple. We've really rotated through some people. Road life is hard, and everybody wants to play shows until you got 30 shows booked in 37 days. And then they're like, I can't get the time off work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've literally picked up musicians along the way and like met them at a party or a show and been like, hey, you want to go run the next 4 shows? If you can keep up, just play something.
Hell yeah.
Just to keep going.
So it's like a collective in its own right too, but
yeah, it's kind of how it's kind of how we ended up dubbing it the Symphony of Stupidity, because it didn't always go well.
Right.
There were some real train wrecks along the way, but we had a good time doing it, and it really opened the door up for us to be more improv, and it taught me not to keep anything in a box and have it be too repetitive. I really learned how to read a room and how to read an improv band, and somebody like you who's skilled on the guitar would step in, or skilled on multiple instruments. Let's not even say guitar, because I've seen your collection.
I'm all right.
It's an expands collection of strings, so you could do a lot of things. But so you could come in and you could understand what key we're in, and you could play by ear possibly. Yeah, and then you bring your style.
Mm-hmm.
And that changes our style, because your energy now just adapted us, and we just have to play. We might be cutting out a really technical part because you're not going to be able to follow it. And we might get into some really jammy stuff that isn't there one night only, or a lot of times I'll give the mic to somebody else. Hey, you got bars? Freestyle. You like this beat? Spit some wisdom. Here's your time.
Have you guys had much other instruments, like outside of guitar, bass, or drum, like keyboard or horns or anything? Or?
Not as far
randomly.
Okay, so I've had some official members on saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some official members on percussion.
Conga, bongo.
Yeah, even
djembe.
Cajon, just different things, different hand percussions. And I've had a wide array of trumpets, trombones, panpipes, bagpipes, violins, cellos. I've had lots of kazoos. I've had a few drunk people booing.
That's
I've had the
Packers.
sound. I've had the sound of empty beer cans added, thanks to the crowd bouncing off our mic and heads. Um, I've had
Classic instrument.
I've had sirens and DJs mix in with us. Um, I've had to go a cappella because they've cut the whole stage and we didn't have any instruments.
No shit. That's interesting. It's just
I
like
pretty much fought
freestyle.
every battle you can.
DRP.
Yeah, I got some battle scar stories for sure.
Hell yeah, man. No, that sounds. It's funny. The band I'm in with Josh, we used to play in the Milwaukee River Water Tribe. It was like that. We probably had 24 members or something, but yeah, just kind of like a collective. You pick up what you can get while you go. You adjust as you go. But overall, you could say kind of like the material you put on the albums is. I mean, it's hard to say like you stick to your own sound, but it is your sound. You know what I mean? You frozen?
Yeah.
Am I frozen?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, I consider us a 4-piece with highlights.
Okay, so there's like 4 core kind of members.
Yeah, like
and then, so it's you on guitar.
Yeah, and my wife Panda on ukulele.
Then
and
bass player.
Yeah, we got a bass player, Jake, and then our drummer, Kyle. And then Amanda and I both do the vocals.
Rapping and singing.
Yep. And then lately we've had our buddy Wayne playing lead guitar with us. And I'm working on a project where I'd like to actually do the Symphony of Stupidity. And so we're working on building a symphony of different local musicians around Sacramento. And we're going to try to get together and record the new song, Redwoods Reefer, the one that the tree gave us, with a whole symphony of people.
Oh, no
and release it as a video with us playing with as large of a symphony as we can get people to work with us, you know, from horns and woodwinds to strings, violins, cellos. I'd like some flutes and all of it, you know.
That's awesome, man.
If somebody can play an instrument and add to our Symphony of Stupidity, then I am down to make it happen.
So this is even a wider collective. That's cool, man. You can kind of have 2 different levels of it, I guess. You got the core kind of reggae, and then it can expand.
Yeah,
whatever the hell you want. I mean,
yeah. I
freedom,
definitely
man.
have things to learn. I've never composed a symphony song before. I'm not versed in sheet music. I'm going to need some help, so I have to rely on people with skills in that industry.
Right.
You know, and there's artists like I don't want to exploit an artist for their talent like a lot of corporate music does. I really want to. I want to build their talent up, and I want to like share some of my drive with people who maybe struggle in what to do, or maybe they don't struggle and they just can't find the right team because nobody seems to be motivated like they are. And I want to build the team of motivation that's a force to be reckoned with artistically across the board, where like, you know, people can call on our collective to help them get something done. And they can use our business plan to be successful, and we can all come out of this together. I don't think it's a competition. I think there's room for everybody. And, you know, they've made it about something it's not.
Well, sometimes it almost seems like when it feels like competition, in some sense, it's people who aren't always taking it as seriously. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Because I guess, you know, obviously playing with the amount of musicians as you have, you know, you can kind of figure out quickly who's in it, who's really dedicated, who's like, it's a lifestyle. It's not even really a choice. It's just like who you are, as opposed to I'm trying to do this to whatever, impress someone or on the weekends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
figure
mean,
that, but it's a. There's so many musicians. We're saturated, obviously.
I
But
totally have 100% respect for anybody who plays an instrument as an escape or whatever the reasoning may be. Like,
yeah,
I
most
mean,
definitely.
even if I don't have any judgment or insult or anything to somebody who only plays covers or
Right.
campfire tunes or anything. I appreciate anyone picking up an instrument and creating something. What I stand against is the exploitation of the talents that come out of it,
Right.
and I want to take the competition back out of it. I want to put the having fun back into it. I want to put the family and the community and the unity that we've lost in the industry.
Right. When that it's unfortunate. It almost seems like more natural for people to have a competitive attitude towards it. You know what I mean? As opposed to a cooperative attitude. Or a community. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, the more you can build on that, the better, and the more
Yeah.
musicians you can get behind you, and eventually, I'm sure you already know people from all over the country. Have you played like all 50 states or all lower 48?
I haven't played all of them, but I've played a lot of them.
Damn near.
Yeah.
You've been all
I've
over.
actually never played in Vermont.
Yeah, it's one of those states many people don't get to.
But like we've talked about like doing the show trade thing, and I'd totally be on board.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just right now, like I'm focused on this project,
Yeah.
and like the release of it's really going to change the game for how we market and how we push our touring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really focusing on a different kind of a show experience than what is the standard. And I'm looking to inspire artists all over the country in their own areas to start thinking in their own mind frame, period. They don't have to think in mind, but they have to really look at the fact on why it doesn't work or why it does work.
Right.
And start utilizing a network of community instead of being in such competition, because the competition is really what keeps us divided and keeps us from progressing as an independent music culture.
Yeah. Well, and to me, like I said, it can be hard to find people in it for the same reasons or for that aspect. You know what I mean?
But that's where we have
they do exist. Obviously,
that's why we have these methods, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where we got to use technology to our favor. I didn't know about this app that could allow me to do this interview with you until you sent me a message about it. And if we wouldn't have connected at a live show somewhere exactly in between where we both live.
Yeah, right on the border there, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, synchronicities just line up on how easy this actually is to be a collective. You and I could make waves from other ends of the battlefield against corporate music and start putting the power back in the people if we would just collaborate more in thoughts like these and start really, speaking the voice out for the people and showing that, like it doesn't matter. Like, what am I not going to get a gig that's pay to play now because I spoke out against it? Big deal. I wouldn't have taken it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So, I mean, I'll martyr myself against the industry I don't want to play their games and politics in.
Right.
No,
I'm all about that too, man. I'm definitely down to collaborate more. And half of it's just like coming up with these ideas like this. Like you said, you got video game ideas, just more content in general.
Building a brand.
Yeah. Which it just feels like it's a necessity nowadays, but that's kind of how it seems like, it can have more longevity, so to speak. Yeah. Even our connection through Josh, him in his own right.
Yeah.
Like, I've told him himself, like, dude, you have single-handedly kept the Milwaukee punk scene going. Like, there's no one else who's even fucking giving punk bands a chance in Milwaukee.
Hands down.
And he's like, well, yeah, I guess. I love Josh. I've known him a long time.
Billy Dreamer is one of the funniest sets I've ever had the pleasure of watching live. You don't get that shit on fucking Spotify. Are you kidding me?
Oh, and dude, and he's done so many different things over the years. Like, yeah, his set is amazing, and he goes all out, not especially nowadays. But
it's freaking awesome, and it's
he
one of
beats
a
himself
kind.
up, literally.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean, and it's his. He owns it, and he runs with it, and it's amazing, and it's entertaining as hell. I don't care if you don't like punk music. At least you're gonna have fun.
it's an entertaining performance for sure. It's an experience too.
Yeah, you may be shaking your head through it, but I bet you're smiling.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome.
DirtyReggaePunx.com is kind of the one-stop hub. It's kind of in a reboot right now. Like I said, we're working on a lot of branding and a lot of new concepts. But as we release them, we're building this collection of people on Instagram and Facebook, and we have our DRP Nation. It's hashtag DRP Nation group on Facebook, which is a collection of artists where we're really trying to boost each other and live as a community and share each other's work. So feel free to link up with Dirty Reggae Punx on Facebook, Instagram. It's both under that. And then it's Punx, Punx. And then the DRP Nation group and our website, dirtyreggaepunx.com. And we're about to be probably sometime before the release of this. I think it takes 8 weeks, but we just recently signed with the distribution company for Spotify, Apple, and all sorts of streaming media platforms. We've always been very grassroots version of distribution, and as much as it's probably not our first choice to do, a lot of our fan base is really solid, and they speak out to us a lot, and they've been requesting us on those media platforms. And so we took the leap into those for them so they could have us at their fingertips a little easier. So when people are requesting to have you for it, you have to consider it. And we've made a deal with a distribution company out here in Sacramento that is doing all our streaming.
Oh, right on. Oh, froze up.
Yeah.
Sorry, froze again.
That's
right on. Cool, man. So there's a lot of new stuff on the way.
Yeah.
People can find you online.
6 new songs coming.
And you got a show, a smoke sesh show in your local area. When's that again?
419, we'll be playing a private party smoke sesh in Sacramento. Every Sunday night, we sesh on Sundays. And we get together, the cannabis community gets together and throws down. It's a great community to be part of.
Hell yeah. And for now, you're kind of staying out there until the punks hit the road again?
I'm at a position where if you book us, we will play. But since the crash, we still don't have a band. So, we're down to bring a killer, awesome punk rock puppet show. The Symphony of Stupidity is on the move and open booking. But we're not doing it for $50.
Yeah, right.
So if they book us, they can get us there, and make it a thing. We're down to come play.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, man. Hopefully in the near future, if I get out there, if you get out here, we can connect. But again, we can always connect online. And I'm definitely gonna join that group. I didn't realize. Maybe I'm already a part of it. Who knows?
Maybe.
Hard
and
to keep
if
up
not,
some days.
Join up, man. I'm just kind of rebooting everything now. It's going to be content. And like in my group about our band, I want you to share your new music and your videos and promotions because, I don't think my fans should only listen to me.
Yeah, most definitely.
We should all be sharing these people who have a love for music, and there's enough room for everybody. Nobody's Spotify list is just one band.
Yeah, most definitely. And it should be like that anyways. That's what sharing's caring, right? Shit.
Yeah, that's it. And then we're all in this together. So feel free to join our network and be part of it.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate being on the show, man. It was good getting to know you a little better. And, I hope we can connect somewhere out on the road sometimes. I'd love to get back out in Northern Cali, man. I love it out there.
Well,
Vermont's not a bad place either, but...
Well, maybe we just got to find a way to make it worth it for your one-man band show to fly out this way, and
Right.
and do a few things to promote something for your other, full band or something,
Well, and I used to have some band members out in Sonoma County, but kind of see who's lingering around still. But
Yeah,
man, for sure. It's all in good time, I think with stuff like this, it's a great way to stay connected, and we can make shit happen more.
absolutely.
Like I said, anything from this, if you need it for your own promo, even if it's just you, like I can edit it all up, and yeah, if it's cool, like throw some of your songs in here, obviously.
Yeah, please do.
When you're talking about them, and shit, you should come on again. We didn't even scratch the surface of some like traveling shit. So
we didn't. I mean, we could have talked all fucking day, bro.
I know it just keeps going, but it's all good. That's what it's all about, It's free form media, man. I mean, that's kind of how I got into podcasts, just like randomly stumbling upon shit.
Yeah,
a lot of comedic ones, but I feel like it'd be cool if musicians did them a little more, especially some DIY ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just plant some seeds, putting some thoughts out there, some ideas.
Sounds good.
But cool, brother. Good talking to you.
All right.
Let's connect in the near future. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
Peace, man.